2. Mic check 1 2. Mic check 1 2.
There you go.
One, two. The Crash Course Podcast is brought to you in part by DerbyParts.com, the 2015 Bash for Cash and Smash It Demolition Derby, Bull Lockwood Motorsports, and the 2015 Keystone National. Syopa Racing and SyopaRacing.com. Demo Derby Master. Reckless Abandon Derby Apparel at RecklessAbandonGear.com. And Derby Inc. Magazine. Live it, breathe it, be it, Derby Inc. This is the Crash Course Demolition Derby Podcast coming to you live from the Bash for Cash in Washington Courthouse, Ohio. And now your host, Chris Marquardt. Once again, welcome back to the Crash Course Demolition Derby Podcast. Just had to take a quick break there, and while we did it, we were able to track down Tim Clark from Smash It Demolition Derbies. Tim, so it looks like you look calm, you don't look stressed, it looks like everything is going absolutely according to plan here.
Well, I don't know if it's going according to plan, but I mean, it's going. I mean, it ain't that bad. I mean, my inspector guys is doing a really good job. I mean, they're getting through the cars. The 80 and newer is a little slower than the turn back the clock going through inspections, but
Isn't that always the case, though?
It is always the case. There's no question about that.
Brian Tompkins here with me as he's made it back from, I don't know, he disappeared there for a few minutes, but
Took some care of some business. You'll be proud of me. That's all I can tell you right now.
Thanks for coming back. I appreciate it. It's the report is right now that he's in the process of trying to buy the Polaris Razor that's over here situated next to the Big Rock booth where we're going to be broadcasting from all weekend long. Big thanks out to Dave Diver and Big Rock Products for giving us some place to go, and our condolences out to the Syopa Racing group with everything that's going on. They had that shop fire, and it looks like everything else they were worried about taking care of at home is looking on the up, which is good. So good news coming out of that camp as they work through some stuff at home. What do you think of the cars that are coming through? You said that the 80s are taking a little bit longer. We figured that was going to be the case, but what's the report that's coming back to you from inspection line from Russ and Toby?
I mean, it's just a lot of little things they have, they don't even look at the rules when they build their cars. They have to fix. So, I mean, but everybody's calm over there, and it's actually working pretty good with Russ and Toby and, Paul, everybody's over there. So
it was funny.
Excellent.
Gaffin came through with his car, and he's like, "Come on, Toby, you would wait. Come on over." And to hear those two go back and forth, busting each other's chops as he was going through, that was entertaining to watch. And he didn't have too big of a list, so I'm sure he's probably close to being getting his flag here now. So it's going to be an awesome show.
Yeah, we even got Pete Hansen over there, and I think Pete's lost about 15 pounds today. So, I mean, he's going to look good tomorrow.
Pete's not used to working that hard.
There's no question about that. I mean, all the guys over there, I mean, working, inspecting these cars, I mean, hats off to them.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
They've got their work cut out for them, no question.
And I think today they got it a little bit better because I think it's better to crawl underneath and lay in that grass than it is laying that concrete. It's a little more forgiving.
Yeah, I mean...
There's not one thing that looks fun about that concrete.
No.
Not one thing. I mean, the only thing is, the guys in the mornings after crawling on the concrete all night, they can't even move. So we're going to look into lifts next year, I do believe. So, I mean, we thought that was going to slow the process down, but it might speed it up. So
what if you had drive over ramps? I mean, drive up, drive down.
We could, I don't even, would have to probably get something like that made, because there's no place around here you could rent something like that.
Yeah.
But
it's too bad you don't know a bunch of guys that know how to weld and have ingenuity to spare, right?
Yeah, I mean, I probably could ask any of these 500 drivers here over the weekend. They probably could fix me up something.
Well, I think it was Brookville. I was talking to Russ. And I said something to him about the lifts, and he said that when you guys were at Blizzard Bash last year, he actually stood and kind of timed, and he figured how much longer it would take to do 500 cars, going just the time it would take to raise the lift and lower the lift. And he said it would. He thought it would slow it down. So
we was timing it, and it was adding a couple minutes to go up and down, but then we've been talking about it. Okay, that couple minutes, but does it save us 6 minutes when they're laying underneath of it when the car's up? So
that's true.
The only thing we can do is try it one time and go from there.
Yeah, because I mean, it's definitely something good to look into.
The lift is going to have to be able to pick about 6,500 pounds up in the air too, right?
No, these cars are all the exact same weight as when they came off the assembly line in Detroit.
Yeah, I mean, that's for sure.
But I mean, that's an interesting perspective. I mean, I don't know how many. I'd like to believe that other promoters are putting the forethought like that into it. But that's interesting that you're taking it down to how many minutes it's going to add to your show to put the cars up and down on lifts and to determine whether we do or don't want to make that jump.
Right. I mean, that's why we've been to a couple shows where they do use lifts, and it was timing kind of both of them to see, and that's what we're saying about 2 to 3 minutes. Then, Russ was coming home, and Russ is a mathematic genius in his brain, and he's like, 3 minutes to 500 cars. He's like, you're going to put 4 days on my, inspection.
Yeah, that's what he said. Is he started rattling off numbers. I'm like, okay, I that's okay. I understand. No, I don't need it. I get it. But I mean, that's. And that's the thing is, I mean, with the sheer volume of vehicles you guys have, I mean, you have to think about stuff like that because But like you said, I mean, is the 2 extra minutes of lift going to save you 5 or 6 when you're crawling underneath? So,
right,
I definitely think it's a good idea. If you guys do end up giving it a try next year. I mean, since you're adding those 8 other classes and 4 more days and all the fun stuff you're doing next year.
Yeah.
Thankfully, you're not going to have to put those 5-foot rule cars up in the air, right?
Yeah, I was going to say I'd have to get a pretty big lift to do something like that.
Yeah, you'd have to get an excavator or something, lift them up off the ground.
Excellent.
I didn't realize that Russ still actually took part in the inspections. I guess I didn't pay attention last year, but man, we got here yesterday and he was right crawling underneath cars and checking stuff out. And that's pretty neat.
What we try to do, since me and Russ is brothers, is like I kind of pay the bills and Russ kind of takes care of the cars. So I mean, he's kind of like the head inspector. So he likes to be right involved in it to keep everything going. And I'm glad he took that part, then I took my part. So
yeah, Brian was impressed that Russ was at his advanced age was still getting down on the ground and going under the cars.
I'm glad I got these broad shoulders. I just keep getting it dumped on me. That's all right though. That's all good. It'll all equal out someday. No, I went over and Russ and I were talking. He goes, "Hey, you here to inspect?" I said, "Anything to help you guys." And he goes, "Come on in, watch." And so I went in and was standing there watching. And I said, "Man," these 80s cars just look so much more. Oh no, he said, I can build these with my eyes closed. He said, "It's not that bad." Yeah, and he rattled off, the progression he went through to build it. I'm like, yeah, it still seems like too much work, but like you said, a lot of the stuff that they use, you can buy and it'll bolt on, and so it. I guess once you got used to them, they'd be all right. But, man, the time those guys seem to put into those 80s and newer cars is crazy to me.
Crazy. That is for sure.
It's mind-blowing the amount of stuff that is walking up and down the vendor's row behind us.
Oh, yeah.
There was a couple guys about 25 minutes ago that walked by, and each one of them was carrying a Speedway Motors box, assuming it was a radiator. I mean, it's just unbelievable amount of stuff changing hands here, and everybody's prepping. I mean, the season we're only about 4 weeks away from Keystone Nationals at the end of June, and from there it's wide open.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is definitely the kickoff of the Derby season. I mean, it starts from here and then it just keeps building and building and building, and this is a great way to start it out. And I the weather's nice and sunny out, but it's not 100 like it was last year. It's definitely nice.
How many Power Wheels are there?
I haven't even made it out to the trailer where they're signing them up, so yeah. I don't even know anything like that, and they'll probably be killing me because I forgot about them about 3 hours ago, and I was supposed to go back in 5 minutes. So
your help
for sure.
Your help feels like you forget them too.
My help for it's this thing is so big. I mean, I try to keep everybody happy, and you go from one place to the next, and 50 people will stop you and say something to you, then you forget what you was even talking about. So now and it keeps all going on that whole day like that.
I see you guys added a bunch of bleachers this year too. A lot more seating.
We added a bunch of bleachers this year, and I mean, it looks like I probably didn't add enough. So I mean,
unless you start stacking them, I don't know where you could put many more though.
I think I'm gonna have to build a whole nother grandstands or something like that.
That would be neat.
Yeah,
that would be neat.
Here?
Yeah, I don't.
You gonna do here?
Yeah, probably here or somewhere. I don't know.
You see what I was sniffing around there?
I did see you sniffing around that. I think he's just trying to get through this year yet, and we'll think about that.
It is
later.
never too early to start planning for the future.
Yeah, I think we plan the whole time around. I mean, you know, and plus we do 40-some county fairs a year, so it's not a break. I mean,
now when is your last derby that you guys put on?
October the 10th is our last show of the year.
So you got a couple months there where you can kind of decompress and not look at derby cars or think about derby cars or.
Yeah, but not really, because October 10th is our last show. November 1st, the entry start for this show. So, I mean, we have to go from October right until the 1st of November to have, if we're going to change any rules or add anything, we have to have all rules done. And
you'd think the guys that were in charge would maybe work in a little bit of a break there somewhere. Just an idea. I mean, I'm not a derby promoter, but if I was the boss, I'd probably work in a little bit of rest time in there.
Well, I wish I could, you know, but you know, like with this show, people was at a county fair in July going, "Can I pay my entry for the bash next year?" And I'm like, "No, I have to at least wait until November."
Wow,
that is insane. That's
yeah. So yeah, the billboard out in front, biggest derby in America.
Oh, absolutely.
I would say so. I mean, I'm not. I guess I should search into that to be a true statement, but it's pretty big. I mean, you know, look, Vendor Row is humongous. I don't think I've ever been to any demolition derby that Vendor Row.
Oh, this is very impressive.
Double wrapped clear around almost, you know, the vendor area.
Very impressive. I just took a little walk since it's been up and everybody's going. I haven't been done all the way down through it yet, but I'm gonna have to check it out. But actually, Chris and I were talking here, I don't know, it was a couple months ago, and we were talking about numbers and how big. But I think, and I think Chris agrees, I think for cars, I think this has got to be the biggest show in America. I mean, I don't think there's anywhere else where there's 500 cars. Well, vehicles. I guess I shouldn't say just cars, but 500 vehicles for a
and you're
show.
over that, right?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I don't know for sure. I mean,
it's a fairly decent sized regional show.
Yeah,
it's just
and by region you mean America.
Yeah. Well, I mean U.S. and Canada.
Yeah, absolutely.
The North America region.
Yeah,
yeah, it's pretty big up there.
Now you guys are always looking to expand. I mean, have you ever thought about maybe doing a derby in like the Cayman Islands or Hawaii or something like that sometime in January or February
that would be fine, but my guys would probably kill me if I went to other states. I mean, we used to go to Kentucky, West Virginia, and stuff like that. And, my guys yell at me because they always have to take off work or something like that. So,
yeah,
I mean,
that's
I think I'm kind of sit with Ohio. I can't go much more, so.
Yeah, since you guys have half the county fairs in Ohio, that's probably all right for a little while.
Yeah, there's like 88 counties in Ohio, and I think I do 40 some county fairs.
About half. That's not a bad percentage.
It's not bad. I mean, I don't know if I could do any more.
Yeah. We talked last night. The one day you have 3 shows in one day. I mean, that's a pretty big thing to tackle. But I really don't know how you guys do that many shows. I mean, I love Derby, but I really think that by my 40th show, I think I'd be burned out. I think even Chris Marquardt might get burned out after 40 shows.
Never, because think of all the drivers that we would have the chance to go meet if we ran that whole tour. The people that we don't know.
Well, and the nice thing is, if we ran that whole tour, we wouldn't be married anymore. So, I mean, we'd have a lot more time to travel.
We have all that spare time. That's the biggest thing. I mean, I don't know if you run into this too, but everybody that gets the chance to watch us at home and they sort of know us by face, they come up and they say hi, and we don't necessarily know who they are. And that's one of the things that we love the most about getting out to these shows is getting a chance to meet people and interact with the folks. And we do it online all the time. That's one of one of the things that we've been spoken to a couple times about is talk more and phone less, and so we've been trying to make changes to the computer system so we can handle that stuff too. But that's one of the things. Like right now, we've got, I mean, judging by what we're showing right here, we've got probably 50 people at 2:00 on Memorial Day weekend on a Saturday just listening to us talk about what's going on. There's not even cars on the track, you know what I mean? And they're messaging in, asking us questions. What's this look like? What's that like this? Ask this question, ask that question. We love that part. We just would love to know who some of the people that we're talking to are when we finally get a chance to meet.
Absolutely. One thing I haven't touched on yet that I would really like to is this Memorial Day weekend, as we always say, take a minute and sit back and think about the reason for this weekend. I mean, there's a reason why we can be here watching 500 cars get smashed, and it's because all the men and women who've given their lives.
That was on one of the billboards on the thruway or on the highway.
Think about all the people that have given their life so we can be here and do stuff like this. And I saw a great thing on Facebook where it had a picture of some active duty soldiers, and they said, "Don't thank us, thank the ones that can't be here."
Right.
And it's
exactly
that's what it's about. It's about the people that have paid the ultimate price. That this isn't a weekend just about Derby, and this isn't a weekend just about picnic. It's you need to think about why we're here, and the people that have paid the price so we could be here. So just take a minute, everybody, and think about that, and say a little thank you, say a little prayer. And, we've had some great people that have made it possible to do all this great stuff.
It was real cool. Ohio DOT on 271 on the way here had situated one of their alert signs, and I figured when we were coming up on it that it was going to say increased patrol area, expect delays, stuff like that. And the message that was flashing on it was, if you enjoy freedom, thank a veteran.
Exactly.
Which that was pretty cool.
I can't believe you were awake to see that. That's pretty impressive.
I was struggling, and I mean even now still I'm dragging a little bit. But.
Well, if you weren't up till 1 o'clock in the morning doing whatever it was you were doing till 1 o'clock in the morning, you might have got a little more
Last
sleep.
night we went back to the hotel, and I finished the RC car. I painted the other RC car, got it started. I'll finish that one tonight.
No, you won't. You're going to finish it today before we get back, because we're going to get a good night's sleep today, because tomorrow's going to be a long day.
Did a little bit of work on the show stuff, processed 2 shirt orders, and then worked on some art for a roof sign, and then coordinated delivery for 3 roof signs today.
I laid in bed and watched Shawshank Redemption.
You guys are talking about sleep. I mean, don't you guys know this Derby goes 24 hours a day?
Not for us, sir. Not for us. We need to show up bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and
on the topic of 24 hours a day, a somber note without getting too deep into it. How's the traffic been?
Traffic it's been great. I mean,
all our 4-wheelers and our golf cart folks have been abiding by the curfew rules.
Well, yeah, that's been great. But last night somebody took one of my golf carts that I rented and had a demolition derby with it. So they kind of.
That kind of stuff will happen, I suppose.
That'll happen. I mean,
Did he get a free ride in the cop car after that?
Actually, I didn't find the guy. I found the golf cart.
Oh no!
Wow, that's
Just
dirty.
One,
Just one.
What did you drive it into?
I wish I knew.
Wow, that's not. Man, why you got? Oh.
See, I rented a couple golf carts, and it was Russ's, and I went with this packing up, and I was like, "Hey, Russ, where's your golf cart at?" And he's like,
"It's over there in the shoebox."
There. And I was like, "It's not there." And so we went looking for it, and I found it in the infield, and somebody kind of derbied it a little bit. So
stuff like that is what gives Derby a black eye.
Yeah, there's no question about it.
Absolutely.
I had a little sour taste in my mouth yesterday, but I mean, I guess that can be fixed. But I mean, I don't want to kill it for everybody. But if everybody's kind of cool with everything this year, I mean, it's going to be all right.
That's stuff like that bugs me though. I mean, that's last year. I know Jesse Kunkel had some stuff stolen here, and it's stuff like that gives Derby a black eye. I mean, for you guys to put on the show you do here, and to have, and again, it's the old cliche to have a few bad apples ruin it. I mean, it's terrible. I just wish people wouldn't do stupid stuff like that. It doesn't do anything but hurt our sport.
Orville, right? Orville Englert that passed away after injuries that he sustained after a minor accident last year. But changes have been put in place to help reduce the likelihood of that happening, and of course you have to operate those vehicles with some sense of responsibility. And what we saw yesterday, everybody was playing pretty fair. It was good to see. Unfortunately, that's one bad apple situation could come to pass, but hopefully that remedies itself, and the folks with the four-wheelers and the golf carts, so they'll self-police a little bit and get that squared away.
Yeah, I mean, and my help on something like that, I was putting a raffle car up last night, and I was running through the pit area, and I went out onto the derby track kind of doing some stupid things, and one of my gate people came out and started yelling at me for getting crazy, and I was like, do you know who you are talking to? And they're like, oh, I'm sorry, Tim.
That's funny.
But they didn't call you Mr. Clark.
No, they didn't call me Mr. Clark.
Now, as a Derby fan, if you can just step back and be a Derby fan, what class will you enjoy watching run the most this weekend as a fan?
Man,
is there one you can pick?
I don't know if I could pick anything. I think everything. I mean, there's going to be some awesome classes here, I mean, I don't know. I kind of enjoy the Power Wheels myself, for the kids.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's that's one, but everybody's talking this 70 wire thing with, Joker stepping up and putting this $1,000 up in a free sedan.
Yeah. That's $2,500 all day long right there.
An easy $2,500
for Mad Dog.
For Mad Dog.
That is incredible.
So, who knows? I mean, but last year the 80 classes, the heats and stuff like that was pretty awesome. I mean, the mini cars, it was pretty awesome. I mean, it's hard to pick just one class.
Yeah, it's definitely that. I think it's top to bottom again. It's just great show. We actually have a guy from close to our hometown down here running the compacts.
Jerry?
Yeah, Jerry.
Yeah, Jerry Ott brought a compact down, and then his cousin Josh brought a Taurus down.
Yep.
And so they're going to be running for the first time. And he's got a Lumina. That is the cleanest Lumina he's ever owned, and it's still too rusty to even be considered good for Bash for Cash. But he's going to run it nonetheless, and he did the carburetor swap on it too.
Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of people do that. The carburetor swap with them.
Yep. I touched on it earlier. I'm really a little disappointed that some of the guys from New York didn't come down for the wire class for Joker. I mean, there's some guys that really should have built something and came down, but hopefully it's back next year. We can get some guys to come down here and run it. I know I've talked to a couple people that they're actually considering trying to build for the turn back the clock class next year. So we need to see some more people from New York come down here and run. I think there's guys come down here and do a nice job.
Oh, there's definitely New York. I mean, you got Pennsylvania. I mean, guys from everywhere. I mean, and that's what makes the sport grow. I mean, people from Ohio need to, support New York. People from New York need to support Ohio. And it's all about having fun and crashing cars. I mean, they're in it for the money, but I mean, the money ain't everything.
No,
I mean,
that big trophy and bragging rights for years is pretty fun too.
When you can say you can win the Bash for Cash or Keystone Nationals or anything like that, you've done something.
Yeah, it's definitely an accomplishment as a driver and a builder. But it was funny. I didn't know that Toby was inspecting and not driving. And it was after Brookville. I was talking with Ben, and I said something about I wonder if Toby's ready. He's like, ready for what? And I said, well, Bash. He's not running. So Toby was online. And I'm like, what does that hear you're not running? No, he said, I'm just inspecting this year. I said, that's it. I'm not coming. He laughed. But I mean, it's to take a driver of that caliber, and we were talking about earlier, with him not being there, that's a spot, somebody new for the feature because he was in the feature last year, going by last year. All three of the Siopas, they made the feature last year. They aren't here this year. That's 3 more spots, for new blood. So
Bobby Brockway's
Bobby made it last year and wasn't able to run, but he made the feature. But I mean, there's going to be some new blood in these features out here this year. It's going to be interesting to see them.
There's no question about that. I mean, and you never know. I always try to guess where the money's going to go, what state it's going to go to, and stuff like that. But you never know.
It's hard to take the money out of Ohio though, because there is some damn good builders and damn good drivers.
There's some good
Ohio
guys, but I mean, you can't count some other states.
You're right, but it's tough.
We talked about a couple of them. Logan Duvall.
Yep, Logan. He's going to be tough.
Luke Johnson.
Yep,
and Dustin Ingram.
Yeah,
going to be a couple guys to watch.
It's definitely whoever wins is going to earn it. I mean, there's no free rides here. That's for sure.
That's positive. That's right there. Who's going to win it is going to be it's going to be unbelievable for them.
Absolutely. looking forward to it. I hate to wait, and I would have liked to get up and had Derby started about 8 o'clock, and that would have been perfect. But I guess I'll wait till 4.
Yep, we're about an hour and a half away from the first action of the day, which the Power Wheels will be on the track at 3:30. Then the heats program rolls off. There's a total of 8 heats tonight.
There's 8 heats tonight.
8 heats, 4 for the old iron and 4 for the 80s.
Yeah.
Now you guys will be going every other like you did last year.
Yeah, I mean that's what everybody kind of likes. I think.
That's neat. I like seeing that.
Do one heat of 70s and one heat of 80s, and you kind of rotate it around and split it up that way.
Yep.
Which will take us right up to midnight at least.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm hoping by 8:30, but I mean,
that's Tim. You are totally wrong.
There's no question. It'll probably be 1 o'clock.
We had a question earlier, and I don't know if you can answer or not. Do you know if Bobby Whitaker is running or just watching?
I know he's entered. I'm not for sure if he has a car here. I mean, I don't even know if everybody's here. I mean, to be honest with you.
I talked to Bobby, and I asked him. I assumed that he wasn't running, and you know what happens when you assume. So I guess I should have asked him. But
Yeah, you should have done that.
But maybe I'll catch it, and I can come back and tell Chris, and then he can yell at me for it.
We could ask Dave Diver,
Dave Diver, unless he's got a text, he doesn't know yet.
He knows him real well, so I mean.
Oh no, I'd already talked to him before you said something. I am just cool. Even though I run Mopars, I'm still cool.
Hey guys, I'm going to have to break out of here.
I know you do.
I think my phone's beeped about 400 times now. So
somebody need more water and
ice. I
ice.
set the volume off of it. Quit ringing.
Volume? So. What kind of show is this?
So hey, if everybody ain't made it, you're going to miss a hell of a show. That's for sure.
Without a doubt.
If you're not here, you need to get here as fast as you can.
I think it's definitely starting to fill up. I mean, there's definitely about now, 2 hours ago now, I went and grabbed some food, and there were definitely more cars coming in the parking lot, more people walking around. So, pretty sure you're gonna have a full house again.
You'll be fine.
I'll be fine.
You'll be fine. I'll look for you around 2:30.
All right, buddy. We'll see you.
Thanks a lot, man.
There goes Tim Clark. Tim, thanks, man. There goes Tim Clark hanging out with us for a little while here as we go through the midday update. Everything, good reports from everybody around the country.
So, Chris Marquardt,
the situations have been remedied. And when you start sentences like that, you make me nervous. I'm not gonna lie.
You've asked a couple people. I'm gonna put you on the spot. Who's winning the turn back the clock, and who's winning the 80s class?
I think Luke Johnson's going to win the 80s. I really believe that Luke Johnson's.
Think he's going to beat Daryl Monroe?
I think Luke's
and Logan.
I think Luke's. I think Luke's going to win.
And Gaffin.
Look, I heard Gaffin earlier today telling. I can't remember who it was. I think he was telling Dave Diver that he can come and run the car if he wants to. Come and buy it.
Awesome.
So maybe we'll see Dave out on the track yet. Gaffin, when he's yelling to you. But I'm putting my money on Luke Johnson. I think he's got a lot of momentum going for him.
How about turn back the clock?
Turn back the clock. That's the hard one to pick. I mean, obviously the homer pick is going to be just somebody named Braun or Hiley. But I don't know. I think that's a harder one to pick.
Really?
Because the old iron stuff it just feels more wide open to me.
Yeah. I definitely think there's.
Did you hear Klinger's coming down?
Really?
Klinger and Tiffany are both going to be here with cars.
Really?
They're running.
Turn back clock?
No.
80s and North?
No.
Oh.
They're running some of the other divisions.
Oh, that's
those are going to be guys that Tiffany and Mike Klinger are going to be to watch because even if they don't win, you're going to know that they were there.
Oh, absolutely.
Reg Bono in the compacts. It's going to be hard to bet against him in the compact division, and Jerry Ott's going to be out there. I'm not for sure. Give me a minute to think about that. I'm sticking with Luke Johnson though. Not even gonna deviate from that.
Unwavering. I like to see that.
Yeah.
Good for you.
So maybe you can help me out here. Brian Horsley sitting down with ZTR. Thanks for coming over. We're in the middle of a discussion on who's going to win the turn back the clock class.
That's a tough one, man. Hileys and Brauns and all them guys they're always down there in the end. Petro, all them. It's tough to tell.
Right. I mean, that's what I'm struggling with. The homer pick is to go with either the Brauns or the Hiley picks, and
right.
You know, I'm almost kind of leaning towards just saying that Toby's dad's going to win the thing. Just
That'd be neat.
you know, I kind of think I'm going to put my eggs in that basket and go with Randy. Even though there's the field is stacked, it's going to be a ton of fun, and we're going to learn a lot as we work through the heats program. Because if you come out of the heats with having taken a lot of damage in either one of these classes, you've got a long night ahead of you and a lot of work to do.
No, you don't have a long night because you get locked in, and then you got X number of hours tomorrow, and you better be quick and know what you're doing.
Well, you got a long night of worry, I guess. And then, you know, going through the Consi, we saw some of the guys that came out of the Consi were in better shape for the feature than they were some of the guys that qualified directly. How about you? What did Brian? What do you think for the 80s class and turn back the clock? Have you got winners?
I ain't got nobody picked yet. I haven't really had a chance to go walk around much, but I mean, it's definitely going to be a good show, just like any other time, you know.
So you can go ahead and agree with me then that Luke Johnson is going to win the 80s class.
We can root for him.
How's things been over there at the ZTR booth?
Things are going good. You know, we're selling a lot. You know, we got more on its way. So
wait, what?
We're selling a lot and still got more on its way.
It's always good. We got to have backup parts come into.
So let me make sure I understand this. You had to basically call in for more parts because you sold your stuff so fast.
I wouldn't say I sold it so fast. It was just a little bit of a quantity that I had here available. Now it's all actually on its way. It should be pulling in right about now.
So how far away is that?
I'd say it'd probably be at the trailer about 20 minutes.
Yeah. So more stuff coming in. What did you have to call in for the extra quantities of?
Motor mounts, cross members, columns, you know, the usual.
Yeah.
Everything you need to build a derby car right here and more.
Boy, did we learn something about steering columns yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
Is that public knowledge? Was that on the table for people to know about or no?
Well, if you're going to buy it, you're going to know about it.
Yeah. Well, I don't know who's bought it yet.
Well, I'm sure there's guys that have bought it, and I'm sure it's for sale today. So
the unbreakable steering column, essentially. I don't know. Did you get down to ski and see the steering column?
I haven't been down there yet.
You need to go down there and see that. With the telescoping spline shaft will not come apart ever again.
I'll definitely go check that out.
Yeah, that's. We were talking about what the next big innovation is going to be. That'll help.
Yeah,
that sounds like they're onto something there.
Absolutely. What else do you come across? I see there's just so much stuff. Basically, if you had a car and a welder in the pits, because I haven't seen a welder for sale. If there's a welder for sale, you don't even need that.
Yeah.
You have a car and a welder in the pits. Everything you need to build a car is available right here on the route.
Absolutely.
All within maybe 200 foot of itself.
Yes.
Yeah. All it takes is a wad of money about this big. You can buy what you need and build yourself a nasty
We've
car.
said it a million times. All it takes is money, right?
That's right. Got to pay to play.
No car for you this year?
No car for me this year. I had
at all
issues.
At all?
Yeah, I was going to say I saw a picture. Said he took it out for a test drive and smoked a tranny. So he's going to come and enjoy himself and relax a little bit.
I did see that. I did see that picture.
Yep.
Now that you mention it, and nothing sitting around that you could throw in that you wanted to take the risk on.
I didn't even care, man.
Yeah.
Said to hell with it and came out here to have some fun.
That was the Derby gods telling you that it wasn't meant to be.
Yeah, it is what it is.
So how things been going overall for ZTR? Not just this show, but on a grand scale. I mean, we see your stuff all over the place.
You know, it's just now starting to get into the busy season. I mean, everything's picking back up. You know, it's a normal business era. You know.
Indeed, true. The business there is no off season anymore.
Yep, there is no off season. Sometimes there's a slow season, but it picks right back up. So,
is it tough as a builder? We were talking to Dave about this same thing. Is it tough as a builder that you got to put your car on the shelf time and time again because you need to keep up with the customer orders?
At times it can. I mean, it's definitely stressful when, you know, you got 15 orders to fill and you got 3 days left to get the car done and the orders. But, you know, somehow we managed to pull it off.
Right. How many guys have you got fabricating parts at this point?
At this point, I want to say there's one guy cutting and drilling. There's Zach and another guy that's actually welding them out. So,
did you have anything put together for Hillbillies Model Contest?
No.
No. It's been a while.
It's been a long time since I messed with a model.
I keep buying kits with grand plans of building them some days, but I
got a few stashed away, but, you know.
Chris, you mean in your spare time you haven't been building models?
In my spare time, I had to finish painting an RC car.
Because I was trying to sleep and watch a movie.
Yeah, totally.
But,
yeah. True statement there. But with the transmission situation, is that car going to run this year? Are you just going to put that in the mothballs until next year and save it for Bash 2016?
Not quite sure what's going on yet. Just all depends on how you feel when you get around to it.
Are you going to be at any other shows?
I'm thinking about going to Mayhem, but I don't know yet. It all depends on the work schedule and whatnot.
Right. Yeah, that's been a recurring theme here today as well. There's so many people that made a plan that they had to be here at Bash for Cash that's put them in a situation we're not really sure where else they're going to be able to go. Would you be trying to take a car to Metal Mayhem or just go vend?
Nah, just go vend and watch. I mean, I've never actually been out to Mayhem. I think it'd be a fun experience, but just all depends on work. Like I said, it took damn near everything I had to come out here.
Doesn't it suck when work gets in the way of having fun? Isn't that just I'm not a fan of that, man. I think we should be able to work our work around our fun, but it just doesn't work out that way for us, unfortunately.
Well, yeah, that's true, but sometimes you gotta go to work before you could have the fun too.
Yeah. People keep trying to tell me that, and I'm just not a fan of it.
Is it still fun for you?
Yeah, it's still fun for me, but sometimes it seems like a job.
Yeah.
Which that's basically anything you do. Whether you're racing or derbying or
Yeah, demolition derby is a hobby that very easily takes over your life.
Oh yeah.
Completely agree.
Yeah, before long, it's you just live, breathe, eat, sleep it. It's front to back all the time.
Well, not you because you don't sleep, but I mean everything else involves derby.
It's weird that every time we end up in a car, you always tell me it's like you can feel free, take a nap, go ahead, go to sleep, and then the even though I didn't want to, the off chance that I happen to nod off in the car on the ride out here, all I've been taking is nothing but a beating for it.
But I got to get my licks on you when I can because you've gotten me lately, so I gotta return the favor a little.
Don't hold back, right?
I won't.
That's a funny story about falling asleep in the car though, because when we came down here with 4 cars back in 2012, I actually ran Lee's car through tech and ended up passing out up here in the staging area for about 4 hours in his front seat.
That's great. That's great. Well, it was funny. Like we went to Owenson for a show, and Chris. I mean, all the technical behind the scenes stuff. Chris does all of it because he's the only one that knows about that stuff. So he takes care of everything. We help when we can. But Chris has.
And
a lot
sometimes when they ask, "How can I help?" the biggest help that you can give me is, "Don't ask me any more questions. Just go find something to do."
And so we left Owenson, and we were coming home, and it was a fairly. I mean, we had some stress, but then we got the truck, and Chris finally crashed, and it was good to see him just kind of relax and take it easy for a little while. So, but we picked on him about it, but it was good to see.
Because since I'm not allowed to drive my vehicle.
No.
Which actually belongs to Summit Federal Credit Union in downtown Seneca Falls, New York. It's their vehicle. They just let me use it on the weekends. They don't let me drive it, so I try to stay up with the driver as much as possible. And
do you know anybody that you've rode with in the vehicle that just absolutely scares you to death? I mean, you're a derby guy, so there's not much fear. But I mean, is there anybody you ride with that you're just like, there is no way this person should have a driver's license? Because for me, that person is Chris Marquardt because
I can't personally speak for Chris, but I mean, I got road rage. I ain't gonna lie. I think that's about any one of us, though.
Yeah.
And now you've just added another couple kilos to the weighted argument of reasons why I should drive a derby car.
No.
Everybody's going to continue to.
You should not drive a derby car because you choose not to drive a derby car, and people should just leave it at that.
Yes, I would greatly appreciate it to just be left at that.
Just leave it at that. But
I tried to explain it to Pete Hansen one time.
And Pete said, "Just run my Riviera."
No, not at all. I took some time and explained in detail the reason or reasons why. The ha-ha reasons why, and then the reason why. And he goes, "You know what? You're still just a bitch." He goes, "I think you made all that up."
That's great.
All right.
Pete's got a lot of heart. He's pretty soft-hearted in his old age.
Thanks, Pete.
All right, guys. Well, I gotta get back to the booth.
I know you do. Brian, thanks for coming over and hanging out with us for a while.
No problem.
It was good seeing you, dude. Thanks again.
No problem.
We'll see you. Sell lots. Now, there was rumor that Jim Youngblood was going to come and hang out with us for a few minutes, and there's an open microphone, but I don't know if his weekend contract with Extreme has included a podcast appearance or not. So it looks like that's not going to happen. But I know Sammy. We talked about Sam coming over. Oh, he's coming. Look at this. I mean, look. So we're gonna catch up with the incomparable Jim Youngblood. Jim, man, feel free to put those on. You can hear us a little bit better. But thank you for coming over and hanging out with us.
Yeah, no problem.
For the weekend. How long was that list that you handed to Dave once he got off here?
It was a long list.
Dave was off camera now, just shaking his head. But how's your weekend been so far, Pastor Cash?
It's good. It's been a good time. A lot of good cars. I see they're being hard on the old school cars, but that's a good thing.
Is that
New guys coming.
so? When you say that they're being harder on the old school cars, on the old iron cars, and that's good for the sport, what do you mean by that?
Well, if they're being hard on the guys that normally do well, and I mean they're being stricter to the rules, making sure everybody's following it to the T. It's a good gig.
That's good. And at this point, we still have only had official confirmation of 2 cars being loaded. I haven't heard any reports.
Yeah, I
of
haven't heard
anything.
any today. Just
There hasn't
the
been
two from
anybody that
yesterday.
hasn't been able to attempt a fix.
Right. I've seen the Bronze are out there. They've got one car through, and I see they're working on the other.
It was funny. Somebody came through with a shocker today, and they done some nice stuff to it. And I walk up, Pete's standing there. He goes, "It was funny." He goes, "They didn't think anybody here knew what to look at a shocker." Of course, Pete's run Chryslers for the first 15 or 20 years of his career, so he knows them inside and out. And he started looking at this and pointing that out. And they're like, "Okay, yep, we'll get that." So, kind of guys, and it was very well put together car, and it was nothing. I mean, super, just the little things here and there that a Chrysler would need to help, and Pete happened to notice them. So, but the guys took it well, and they said, "All right, we'll fix it. We'll be back." So,
Is that the one from Minnesota?
yeah, I believe so.
That's a nice looking car.
Yeah,
It is.
yeah, very nice looking car. Yeah, it's got to be because it's got the Minnesota window net on it.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's got to be from Minnesota.
Trying to track down Jesse Kunkel because I know we talked about having him on this morning, and he was
Mentioned
supposed
Aaron
to be-
Casaya too, who's also one of the sponsors and inspectors for King's Old School. He's walking around. I told him to swing by and say hi to us.
for sure. Now it's funny these different things that have gotten their nicknames. There's Ohio Style, which is essentially an '80s Ford that is just built as heavy as you can make it, and then you cut it apart after you go through tech inspection. You've got Minnesota Style, which is a particular driving approach, and with that came the Minnesota window net.
Yep.
We've and now Chris Lancaster is making a push on the California Roll, which is
California
the
Roll.
California style notches on the quarter panels on his Cadillacs. That's making it roll over the top, helping get the roll started. So.
Yeah, I think that may have came from Troy Tag.
Oh, was it Troy? I was in a group message, and maybe I misidentified that. I thought that was.
I think that may be where the idea came from because I know Troy sent me a bunch of pictures of the quarters on his caddies. He's like, this is what you need to do, and I tried to get that past the King's Old School inspectors, and they didn't think that was such a great idea.
You need to California the quarter panels on those,
Yeah.
and you'll be just fine.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
So if nothing else, that should start a bit of a pissing match between Chris and Troy, which would be fun to watch.
No doubt.
like keep things going in the Derby world.
What do you think of Vendors Row? I mean, we've been to a lot of derbies, and this is the busiest Vendors Row that we've probably ever been at.
Oh, you're right. There is a ton of them. Ton of core buyers and guys selling everything, cradles to extremes, whatever. It is crazy. Money exchanging hands here this weekend is just insane. People
You
are
buying
getting-
anything?
No.
We were talking with Sam a little bit about Sam and Davey Chapman about you and Dave and some of the terrors that you guys have built and brought upon them.
Oh, there's been some stuff that's crazy. You can't even pick it up, Well, you see the stuff they're selling here, $400 for a set, but you want to win, sometimes you got to roll with the big stuff.
For sure.
Got to play, got to pay.
No.
I mean, do you remember the last time that you were at a show, or the first time that you were at a derby where if you had the equipment, the equipment to build a car, say the welder, the torches, and a shell, and even in the case here, you could buy a shell here, and if you could find somebody selling a welder, those didn't even have to be the case. If you just showed up at a derby with a wallet full of money, you could buy everything you needed to build a car to run that day.
Oh, you've seen it. Don't. Here, I mean, it's just insane the stuff.
But what I'm saying is jump in the time machine and go back to when was the last time you were at a would you remember the first time you were at a show where you noticed that was the case?
If I remember right, the Buckeye Bash, how long has that been?
Wow.
10 years, I'm guessing?
Yeah.
That's
We
an
ran
old
there.
name.
Yeah, it was a good
Yeah,
show.
I remember that.
That's cool. I mean, that was one of the first times where you could really everything you needed to build the car was right there, and if you had it, you could build a car that day. That's pretty cool. So I mean, look at how far the sport has come in those 10 years.
Oh, you're right. Guys bringing 3 cars with trucks, trailers, and their whole garage and enclosed trailers.
Bobcats for fixing stuff after. There was I saw a few guys out here that had their own Bobcats here.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them. That Tony's welding guy says he's bringing a law in after he got done with inspection.
That's crazy.
It's
Holy
crazy.
crap!
Crazy.
That's nuts. So what's been the biggest question, most frequently asked question that you've had to tend with over here in the Big Rock booth this weekend?
How much stuff costs.
Yeah.
Dave keeps his prices competitive. He's a good guy.
Except he doesn't like Mopars. Other than that, he seems to be all right. Other than that, not being a fan of Mopars.
He's got to ask a lot of questions about Mopar and Ford stuff today, actually. I've heard it.
Oh,
Good.
really?
Maybe next year at this time we'll be building some Mopar headers.
You got to get him fabbing. There you go.
By a lot of questions, you mean 2, and both of them being from Brian?
I think the guys were asking about Fords were from Virginia.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's
probably Sean.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Those, yep, guy with a real long beard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like that Dave guy anymore. He's not a fan of him.
That was Sean. Sean's got a football window Lincoln, and he's got a number 75 roof sign on it. The car hasn't been painted, and
And it has no radiator.
And it has no radiator. He just looped the hoses, and he's done that the last 2 years anyway,
same here.
if not
Yep.
more. And I said, man, it's you're not going to need a radiator. Basically, with the way that he drives hard. He puts on a show, and it hurt his feelings because basically, the way he asked me, he goes, "Do you think I have a chance?" And I said, "You don't have a radiator in it," and it hurt his feelings. I said, "With the way you drive, you don't have a chance." And he really took it personal, and it wasn't anything where I was picking on him. He puts on a show. He drives hard, and that's why there's no radiator in it, because the motor's not gonna.
Yeah, it's just a waste. Why waste the radiator?
Yeah, why ruin a perfectly good radiator? Because it's gonna get turned into a pretzel.
Those guys are the ones that fill the stands, in my opinion. They put the show
absolutely.
on. I love watching them.
Absolutely. There's nothing better than seeing that guy that go out there and ruin somebody's $1,800 round back with one shot. There's nothing better than that.
Shane's a great guy, and he's a good builder, and he's a ton of fun to hang around with. And the other guy that was with him had the Snap-on shirt on with Sean Gokenauer from they're all down in the Kaufmantown Road posse of in Woodstock, Virginia.
Great builders, great drivers, great guys.
Yep.
It is neat seeing all the different builds, you know what I mean? From the Fords, the Chevys, from different states. It's interesting. You learn a lot.
Oh, here's our buddy. What's going on?
He's got a 10-lug rear end in it.
I miss that. That's cool.
Yeah, and it's pretty serious.
Oh, hey, you got to talk about Kings. No, you got us.
So do you have any winners picked? 80s class, old school class?
I mean, you can never take out Petro or Braun.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's my favorites in the old school class. The 80s class, I think it's up in the air.
See, that was just the opposite answer Chris gave.
Yeah.
Chris said that Chris picked the 80s winner and said the turn back the clock was up in the air.
Well, I thought that earlier until I seen those guys are getting through inspection, and I mean, they got nice
changed
cars.
the game,
They're
right?
always in the air. Yeah.
All of a sudden. Now, were you over at inspection line when one of the Braun cars backed up bumper to bumper with the raffle car?
No, I missed that, but I did hear about it.
Yeah, that was interesting.
A little bit lower, was it?
We were actually illustrating a point that one car was higher than the other. So why is this particular focal point at issue?
Yeah, if the raffle car passes, they should pass.
That was the point that was being made. So cars have been fixed. They're through tech inspection. We see John Peck hanging out down there with Davey Chapman. A little ways down in front of us. We're only about an hour away from getting going with the Power Wheel stuff. What do you think of the Power Wheels?
It's interesting. You know, I got a nephew that did it. Some of them kids really get into it, take it serious. It's good for the sport, I think. You know, keep everybody interested in looking at it and keep the kids moving forward with it.
The Big Rock Extreme Power Wheels battery protector is next on
That's
deck.
next.
Yes.
That is next. Plastic welding.
JB Weld, right?
That Dave guy, not a fan of his.
If we need to, you can sit over here. Or worst case scenario, Brian. I know Mike DeFreeze is close to a power source. We can pack everything up and move if you guys can't get along.
At least Mike likes Mopars.
But he did win with I think it was a
Ford.
Crown Vic.
Yeah, with a Chevy motor.
Points leader, as it were, for the
with a
record
Chevy
holder.
motor.
Yep. So we're going to see you guys in a couple weeks at the Keystone Nationals.
Yes, you will.
You excited about that?
Yeah. You know, I have a good time inspecting with Bo. I like it. He's a good quality promoter. Bo does a good job.
Yeah, Bo's definitely got some great things going on right now, and it's only going to get better because he improves every year. So I mean, it's the Derby world, and that's the good thing because I think maybe not so much Pennsylvania, but New York was kind of lagging behind. But I think both states are slowly catching up. You know what I mean? You know, some of the other states are being well represented. You know, Chuck Bucknam had a good run down at the Super Stock Show. So I definitely think it's helping to move. You know, kind of raise the bar across. You know, bring everything a little bit closer.
There's nothing wrong with that. The more it improves, the better it's going to be.
No doubt.
I just saw Art and Kevin Seeley from up in Dunkirk. I think the entire city of Dunkirk is at this show. Everybody that runs the Chautauqua County Fair. As we've seen just about all of them. Hank Pensek was hanging around here a little bit earlier. He's got his girl's car. His daughter's car has to get buttoned up and get through tech inspection for the youth show coming up tomorrow. So hopefully we'll be catching up with him a little bit later on. And Jesse Kunkel was going to come on with us, but apparently he's encountered some problems with one of his cars because we haven't seen hide nor hair of him all day today.
Yeah, his turn back the clock car made it through already. I don't know if I didn't think they were inspecting the other class till tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the situation is.
And I didn't see him when I walked through the pits. He's kind of a hard guy to miss, and I didn't see him. I saw his truck and trailer, but I didn't see him.
You guys ever rode in them youth cars?
No, never in my life would I do something like that.
Don't.
No.
Because amazing the abuse you take with youth cars.
Well, you know what it is because those kids are young and they don't know that stuff hurts.
You're right.
They put it in gear and hold it on the floor, and they don't know that it's going to hurt when they.
Yeah, they have no bad habits.
No.
They don't know that you're not supposed to hit wide open every time.
That's what they do.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. Brett Relier from New York with us. He's, probably the most successful New York driver over the last 10 or 15 years, and he rode the youth car and ended up with a cut on his hand that should have had stitches, a concussion. I mean, he got beat up bad. He said never again would he do that. So it's bad.
That's what happened the first time I rode with my kid. I got out and I'm like, I'm never doing that again.
Well, the bad part was it wasn't even his kid. It was like a friend of a friend's kid. And they're like, Brett, would you ride with me? And Brett is a great guy. And he said, absolutely, I'd love to. And he goes, now, do you want to win or do you want to smash? I want to try to win. And they said, okay. So Brett goes, look, this is what you got to do. Brett said they got the one, and the kid put it in drive and just stood on it right across the track, wide open, and hit somebody. And then put it in reverse and did the same thing. And Brett's bigger guy, and them seats didn't hold up quite the way they were hoping, and
Right.
got a little beat up out there. But yeah, it's fun to watch. But I think there ought to be some sort of rev limiter or block under the pedal or something for those kids because they drive hard.
Block under the pedal.
For that age group, I think there should be. You get to be, a few years in and you realize that stuff hurts. And it's
Yeah. The next day isn't so easy at my age.
You start thinking about, man, that car is a long ways off. I've said that to it. When I first started running, nothing bothered me. But a few years ago, I got to the point, and I can remember it like it was yesterday. At our hometown track, sorry, Josh Buell, but it's a long track. And I remember starting at one end, and I got almost to the other end. It's around 300 feet. And I thought, man, this is going to hurt. But thankfully, the car I hit was soft, and it didn't hurt too bad. So I said, I'm starting to get a little bit older. I'm not as willing to do that stuff anymore.
And that youth class, people are starting to build them a little bit better and better every year too.
Oh yeah,
so.
we went out to Blizzard Bash last year, and some of those youth cars that were out there, oh my goodness, they were put together. There was some impressive stuff, and those kids still drove hard. I mean, the kid that won it was coming in for his last shot, and as he did, the kid he was going to hit broke his stick. Well, the kid that was coming to make the last shot, I believe it was a Mopar, thank goodness, and he broke the tire off, and the tire proceeded to pass the whole car. It was flying. It was pretty wild, but they put on a great show.
It is interesting.
What do you think, man? You got business picking up again over at the Big Rock booth. You want to go over and hold the cell phone for Dave for a while?
Yeah, I got to go over and keep him company.
All right. Well, Jim, man, I appreciate it. We look forward to seeing you here in a couple weeks.
Thanks a lot, guys.
There goes Jim Youngblood here with Big Rock Products.
I tried talking to Aaron. He doesn't seem to want to come sit and talk to us. So.
John.
Hey, you guys, I know you're talking about radio, but my 9-year-old grandson's driving a big car this year.
Your 9-year-old grandson is running a big car in the youth division. I see. That's cool.
They're running away from us, Chris.
Yeah, this is going backwards.
I think we might have to call it.
Nope.
John's completely ignoring you. He's not even looking at you.
He's looking the other way. Well, that's fine. That's fine. We'll what we got to do is we got to do some
Pay some bills.
yeah, why don't we do that? We'll take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Are you good enough to be recognized as a reckless warrior? Bo Lockwood Motorsports' 2015 Demolition Derby schedule will now be combined into the Reckless Warrior Tour, designed to give rewards and recognition to drivers that support Bo Lockwood Motorsports. The schedule starts at the 5,000 to win Superstock Championships May 9th at the Jefferson County Fairgrounds in Brookville, Pennsylvania. The tour then goes to the Keystone Nationals, which has moved to the Westmoreland County Fairgrounds June the 27th. The Jefferson County Fair Championships follows, with the limited road cars back in the limelight as they chase a $3,000 payday in Brookville, with the Reckoning 2 following on August 1st at the Clarion County Fairgrounds in Clarion, Pennsylvania. The series finishes with the final encounter September 4th and 5th at the Stoneboro County Fair. In all, there's more than $75,000 in prize money available among the 6 shows and features some of the largest purses in the Keystone State. Drivers will earn points based on their feature appearances and heat and feature finishes, with bonuses awarded for passing inspection and getting a stick on the first try. The season will end with a points banquet where Bo Lockwood Motorsports will crown the deadliest warrior. That driver will then have his selection of one of the 10 prizes from the Reckless Warrior partners. For more details on the 2015 Reckless Warriors Tour, visit their Facebook page and check out blmotorsports.net. The Crash Course would like to thank DerbyParts.com, an industry leader in aftermarket parts. DerbyParts.com has become the go-to source for builders looking to make one stop for all their derby needs. A proud partner of the Reckless Warrior Series and a title sponsor at the Bash for Cash, DerbyParts.com offers products from the top manufacturers in the industry, including fellow Reckless Warriors partners Brian Muir and Big Rock Derby Products, and performance aftermarket standouts MSD, Edelbrock, Schonfeld, and Samson Tires. Inventory includes cradles, ultra belts, sliders, flex plates, pedal kits, mounts, fans, radiators, adapters, tanks, and much, much more. DerbyParts.com truly offers one-stop shopping for builders ready to perform at any level. Go online and check them out. From bumper to bumper, you can find it on DerbyParts.com.
Travel back to the good old days of Demolition Derby at the 2015 Kings of Old School, June 6th at the Broome County Fairgrounds in Whitney Point, New York. The card includes a 2,000 to win Old School class, 1,000 to win 80s and newer kitten class. The compacts and junk run are also on the schedule. Inspection opens at 8 a.m. Derby action begins at 2. Call Brett Relier at 607-327-2705 or Josh Decker at 607-725-2194 for additional details. For rules questions, call Mark Benjamin at 607-215-2149. That's the Kings of Old School, June 6th, Broome County Fairgrounds, Whitney Point, New York.
Demo Derby Masters offers a wide array of stock Derby parts and accessories that have all been Derby tested. Demo Derby Masters also offers custom fabrication, meaning your homespun garage idea can become a finely produced reality. Their team of engineers and Demo Derby drivers have designed, manufactured, and Derby tested all parts to ensure quality and durability, even under the most extreme conditions. DemoDerbyMasters.com also carries a full line of helmets, fire suits, gloves, and belts, and Kaiser's own branded oils and fluids. Parts are manufactured, housed, and shipped out of their 140,000 square foot facility located in Coopersville, Michigan. Order online at DemoDerbyMasters.com or contact them by phone at 800-472-2464 or email info@DemoDerbyMasters.com.
Hey, welcome back to the Crash Course. Had a quick look at last shot there in the Demo Derby Masters ad was Kevin Steele actually being hit by Al McNeil. He's walking away. He's one of the guys from up in Dunkirk way. He's got his car almost done for Kings of Old School, which we saw the ad playing. He's going to be up there with his Imperial at the Chautauqua County Fair.
So say, with his Imperial, is that at King's Old School?
No, I was coming back around to a point. Art, the tall guy, has a Baldwin that he puts in his Imperial that he ran there last year.
That probably ought to move it around, all right.
It did just fine. Yeah. So still waiting on word back from Jesse Kunkel. Not sure where he's wandered off to, and Sam has not returned as of yet. That's the thing is you set out to do a 5-minute project here, even just as simple as going over and getting a lemonade at one of the concession stands. And it takes you an hour to get back to where you started. There's everybody and anybody is here, and you're running into all of them. You stop and chat with this guy and then that guy. I mean, I can't even tell you how many people stopped and said hello, and it's such a social atmosphere here.
Well, after you got done with your setting up this morning, then you had to deliver that sign. I borrowed your car and went and got something to eat, and I came back, and there was, 20, 30 cars ahead of me, and I'm like, man, I got to get in so I can do the show. And somebody said, hey,
check this out.
Hey, don't you know Chris Marquardt?
Hang on a second. You know who that shocker that we were talking about, the car from Minnesota?
Yeah.
It's Lee Engstrom's car.
Nice.
So, yeah, he's like, are you going to get any, are we going to get any love for bringing a shocker all the way from Minnesota?
10 minutes ago, Lee.
Absolutely.
Yes. Absolutely. 10 minutes ago, we were talking about you, buddy.
Yes. I didn't realize that it was Lee's car.
Yeah. I guess I should have known by the gigantic Engstrom graphics on the side of it. But
yeah, but he's been doing all sorts of graphics packages for a bunch of cars out
for
here.
a long time, yeah. But
I didn't realize hey, what's going on?
God, more officials from Smash It.
Yes,
probably going to set up for the Power Wheels.
They appear to be having fun.
Absolutely, you gotta have fun this weekend. Yeah, you mentioned how you try to go and do something. Well, I came in and all those cars were in line, and somebody said, hey, don't you know Chris Marquardt? And I said, yeah, and they proceeded to peel all the cars out of the way, and I just drove through.
I don't think that happened. Not in that last part. None of that happened.
Absolutely happened.
Not true.
Don't you know Chris Marquardt? I said, yes, sir.
Lee was in some trouble there. He had to cut it all apart in tech.
That darn Pete Hansen.
Yeah, it's
he'd seen them shockers before, but very, very well put together Mopar. I'm interested to see how the front of that holds up. I think it's gonna, given the opportunity, I think it's gonna ruin some days of some roundbacks. I hope.
Definitely. Saw George Heinold for a little while. Had a chance to go hang out with him, and we dropped off another satisfied customer, Faye Fletcher, picking up her roof sign over at the local Walmart. What do you got going on there?
My son turned his phone on. He's just asking me about. He gave me some stuff he wanted me to get while I was here.
Yeah.
So I said, buy a cool set of stacks, Dad. So I did. And he asked about my shifter, and
can't go wrong there.
Man, wow, look at this. This Dave guy, he's all right, except for that not liking Mopar things. But other than that, he's good.
Thanks, Dave.
Thanks, Dave.
Awesome. So what about you? I mean, you didn't really tip your hand. Are you still waiting? You're gonna play the Ben card and wait a couple hours until everybody gets through tech before you pick your winners?
Logan Duvall in 80s and newer, and a Cadillac is going to win Turn Back the Clock.
Which one?
A Cadillac.
A Cadillac.
A Cadillac. I'm not sure which one because I've seen some pretty nasty caddies, but this is the year the wagons don't win it and the Cadillac does. That's my prediction.
Sam! Sam's going to be joining us here in just a few minutes. Sam sold some bumpers to Travis Charleston a little bit earlier, and it was a lot of fun to get a chance to talk with him a little bit. And okay, so Matt Foss is the one that's going to be driving that. Matt Foss is driving that Mopar that's out here with Lee.
Okay.
So that answers that. We saw Matt at Wintersland.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So we got Sam coming up. Bumpers by Sam, as it were. Throw those on. We had a chance to hang out and get to know Sam a little bit here through the course of the afternoon. Has a trailer full of bumpers and all sorts of rims and tires. You help Big Rock every now and again. And he was telling me an interesting story about how he had the imprint of a bumper. How deep into the door did you say it went?
It was 2 inches thick.
It was 2 inches thick into his driver's door one time, and the guy, of course, didn't even see him.
Never do.
Because they never do. And ended up with a couple broken ribs and new family, but now we're starting to get back to the point where we might be building some derby cars again.
Yeah, I'm definitely getting the itch. It's longest I haven't derbied in years, and I tried to give it up a little bit, and talked about retirement, and it just now the itch is really back. I'd really like to get back at it again.
You had your EPR shirt on earlier.
Yeah.
And now you've since switched into the official colors of Smash.
Yeah, it was a little hot. I had to get that black shirt off.
But we were talking about the land that Sam has at home. He's got a 40x60 barn that's busting at the seams with derby parts. He's got a number of sheds that are busting at the seams. You see the bumpers that he's got here for sale. These are the garbage ones that he doesn't care if he sells or not.
Nice. I like that.
You got to keep the good stuff at home. Yeah.
I keep sitting and looking over at those steer tires that I happen to need, so I'm gonna have to go over and check those out and see what rims are on and what size they are, because I need some of those.
That's one of the reasons that we've got Sam on, because we're talking about how great a guy Sam is. So now he's going to cut you a swinging deal on those tires, right?
No, not. I'm not even looking for that. Not at all. I just kept looking over there, and I'm like, man, I need those for.
Man, you guys are good.
No, nothing like that. Is the Ford nose with you, or is that was ETR?
Yeah. Yep.
What's the story on the Ford nose? I mean, it's just sitting there waiting for a dog to come and live in it.
You have that urge that you can't let nothing go by, and you keep hearing cars and you keep buying them up. Well, you get to a point where you got so many of them, and you keep letting them sit. And I actually bought like 4 at a time, and they sat so long the frames rusted off of them. So that's actually the parts that's left over from hoarding cars, is what I call it, I guess.
So you talked about these buildings, and you talked about the family and stuff like that when we were hanging out earlier. Do you still have cars left?
I have a few. Yeah, I got a couple in the garage at the moment, a Vic and a Caprice, and I have that Impala. It's got that nice imprint on it, and it's just still sitting on the tilt bed where I left it. It sort of reminds me of how tough it can be, I guess.
This is this Ford that you're talking about. That was the one that you were building with the intentions a couple years ago, trying to get it together to run here, but it still isn't done.
No, yeah, you get to the point where you beat all your good stuff up. You feel like you need the right stuff to come to a big show like this, and then once you finally get everything you need, the stuff that you had bought first, you need to freshen up and get it back up to par.
Once you sell enough $200 bumpers, you can go buy stuff like that.
Yeah, you can definitely. Yep.
Now, have you taken these bumpers here? Now, these are decent bargaining chips. You might be able to get more trade value out of them than selling them outright. Have you thought about working that so that you can get some of the equipment that you're looking for?
Yeah, I never really thought of the trade bargaining.
Really?
Usually,
you're selling
parts. Every time I want to trade something, they never want to.
You're selling parts off your trailer. You haven't thought about bartering?
Yeah, most of the time they don't want to barter with it's the different persons wanting to barter with you, not what you need, or things like that.
I was happy to see that you and Travis Charleston were able to strike a deal and send some more bumpers home with him, and that was cool. There was a young guy that was out here at the front, and there was a small, what was it, like a 15-year-old shifter, right?
Shifter, it was really old.
Yeah, I saw that.
It was basically a Raptor fab.
Yep, I saw it. Yeah.
And this kid's looking at it. Sam's sitting on the bed of his truck and yells out, "I'll pay you to take it."
I was more happy to see that kid was going to use it.
Right. Absolutely.
That thing, to anybody else, they look at it and that's nothing. But to me, I look at the roundbacks that's been on and the trophies and stuff that I've got from that. And it's just, to me, it had some value to it. Nobody else, it might not have, but...
But you're right though. That's the step up. That's the progression that we've talked about so many times. This young guy, now he's got his first shifter, his first good shifter, and that thing's going to go on. It'll carry him on, and before long, he'll be moving his way up and buying. We can't really name one shifter or another because we got too many friends that make them. But
there's a lot of good shifters out there. A lot of
custom built shifter.
Nowadays.
Yeah, there's definitely. I mean, we sort of know a lot of parts guys.
Yeah, it's amazing how far it came. You think it's a dying sport, and then you see things like this. And
we've been saying this for a while.
You wonder who's going to start stamping frames out next.
We've talked about that too.
Yeah, I want to. A Chevy and a Ford. I'll take them.
This is.
Yep. People start building their own frames.
This is a situation. Denise, I didn't mean literally come over. I meant give me a minute. Let me finish with Sam, and then you can come over. Denise Marie earning the Captain Literal Award presented by Big Rock Products. Because I'm trying to give you exposure since you set up the awning and let us come from your booth all weekend. I'm trying to say thank you. Well, you're right. Dave is moody. So anyway, getting back to it, the progression of the sport. What's your preferred kind of build? What do you like to build for? Because I mean, you're talking about building a car for Bash for Cash. It's taking you a little bit of time, and then we were talking back there, and you're talking about cars that you've just thrown together and waffled.
It's iffy anymore because you have all these parts and you want to use them, but yet I have so many years into it. I'm wanting to go to the easier build anymore and just throw it together and go have fun. I'm not so much into the aggressive welding as I would.
Let the young guys have the heavy builds, right?
Yeah, but yet all that, you can't use all your good parts, and it's where the rules are going. I guess that's what it turns out to be. I still like the easier build for now. Just I've had my fun at the unlimited, and it's.
You horse around it all with loading your bumpers and stuffing them and getting to last a while?
Yeah, I don't want to have to do it for a while, so I'll build one good one and have it for 4 years.
Make some of these bumpers that you've got on the trailer today expendable.
Yeah, it's as expensive as they are, and you think that are you going to be able to find them or aren't you? So you tear them apart and build a good bumper, you have it for a while.
Well, they're priced right. I mean, some of these things are, they're some of the bumpers that are here are good bumpers for under $200, and you can't replace those bumpers for that. But like you said, all the good stuff stayed home.
Yeah, you got to keep, if you're in it, you still in the sport, you'll have your own little stuff that you keep stashed. It's got to have them good parts. You never know.
Yeah, absolutely.
You never know.
That's What's been getting the most attention for you so far today?
It's pretty much been the bumpers.
Been the bumpers.
Yeah, it's.
Which one of them? I mean, because you're only down to it's like 2, 4, 6, 7, 9, 11. You're only down to about maybe 12 of them, maybe a dozen or so.
Yeah, tires been decent too.
Tires been well too.
Yep.
It's pretty good.
Well, other than that, it's been I knew bumpers would attract people. You definitely have to have a good bumper for a good car.
That is for sure.
That's the start of a good car.
That's why Travis was here.
Yeah. Yeah. He was definitely stocking up.
Yes. He's only got about 100 of them at home, but you know what? When you have an opportunity to bring 2 more and add it to it.
Yeah, the only thing better than 100 is 102.
That's right, exactly. That means he doesn't buying yours. He doesn't have to use his.
Yeah.
Only thing better than 100 is 102.
It's not so bad. Not so bad.
Getting to that time, we're gonna be starting action here in about 30 minutes.
About a half hour away. We've already gone over what we planned to, but that's all right. But Sammy, man, I appreciate it.
Thanks,
before you get off, let everybody know how they can get a hold of you. There's some outstanding bumpers, and then what he doesn't have here, he's got good stuff home. And trust me, it doesn't matter how nice it is. If it's got the right price tag on it, it'll move, right?
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely.
How can people get a hold of you?
Just at the Bash for Cash. Usually, I usually only come out once a year.
That's it.
A couple local shows, but that's pretty much the Bash.
Make sure you're here. Look for Sammy. Set up next to the Big Rock Products. Bumpers by Sam again, man. Appreciate it. We'll see you later. Yep. And we got Denise coming over.
I got to plug in a phone quick.
You got to plug in your phone? So, and now everyone has vacated. Yes? No? All right, so I was... Still waiting to see what exactly is going to transpire here.
Oh boy.
Brian plugging in his phone.
Yeah, I should have done that about 2 hours ago.
Happens. The lovely Denise Marie hanging out with us. Thank you for coming over and hanging out.
Hi.
You might, I don't know, if you want to put those on, you're welcome to. You might be able to hear us a little better if you do. You got anything here for this weekend?
No, I don't. Getting ready for Kansas.
Yeah. Which show you're running out there?
Yes, I'm running 80s.
Okay. Excellent. That'll be a fun one.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that. Who else out here with you this weekend?
I got Chuck Chastain and a couple other friends, but none of us are running.
No. What do you think of Bash for Cash?
It's awesome this year. There's a ton of hungry cars out there.
Yes, they're going to have the opportunity here just about an hour from right now when the first of the 8 qualifying heats, 4 for the turn back the clock class and 4 for the 80s class, take the track. The Power Wheels going to be rolling off here just about a half hour away from start time. You bringing anything home? You buy any parts up and down this row?
I got my training coming home and maybe I'm bringing my training home, and we got tires and stuff coming home. Yeah. And
You got something else coming home that you don't want to talk about? Is uh-oh.
maybe my sponsor.
Your sponsor?
Yeah.
All right. Well,
My sponsor's maybe sending me home with some parts. So
that'd be all right,
my
right?
cradle.
You heard anything from the Psyopas this weekend?
No, I haven't.
No, I know that they had that fire over there.
Yeah.
And caused a little bit of headache for them. But yep, it's been an exciting morning as more and more people continuing to pour in, and the vendors are actually thinning out a little bit, which I can only assume that's because everybody's now taking their seats, heading up into the grandstands and getting ready to go, because we're not far away. And the covered grandstands, when it's approaching 80 now.
Yeah, it's still not a bad day.
No, it's not a bad day,
as
but
year.
staying out in the sun all day.
I went earlier when I was walking around. There was people at 10 o'clock setting out blankets for seats already. So the people are definitely heading up to the stands and getting where they're going to be.
So we gonna catch up with you at the Keystone Nationals in a couple weeks?
Yeah, I'll be there.
How about Kings of Old School?
No, I'm not gonna be there.
No. But we'll need some help on the microphone. You can come and help call a couple heats.
Yeah, I'll come up.
Sound good?
Yeah.
You seem nervous.
Well, yeah. A little bit.
Well,
Don't be nervous. Chris only bites once or twice, and then he's good.
There's only a couple thousand people watching it right now.
Yeah, that's okay. I'm usually in the car on TV.
More comfortable in the derby car, right?
Yeah, I'm more comfortable in the car.
So what are you building for out there?
Crown Vic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you said it was 80s, it was a safe assumption, but you never
red
know.
line. I just want to make a point that I have the red line. I don't have a little baby engine out there.
Looking at you, calling you out completely.
I don't know why.
Why?
So I feel better looking at you. I don't know.
See, Chris, I'm the soothing one. You're the one that's mean.
I don't know.
Way to go, Chris.
I know.
Make our guests feel uncomfortable. Hope you feel good about yourself.
He's the one making me nervous.
The reason that I sit like that is because you have to talking to the top of the microphone.
Yeah. Maybe I'm not talking right. Am I talking right?
No,
now?
you're fine.
Okay.
I didn't have to tell you to jump
That's
up
not
on top.
necessarily
of
the case.
You're good.
I think I'm gonna start having my microphone like Lemmy, where it hangs on. I gotta talk up like this. I think that's gonna be the cool thing.
I would
to
love
do.
for that to be the case. If we could get those that suspend, that'd be nice.
So you're gonna be making my roof sign for me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty cool.
That's going on the car for Kansas.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
It's pretty
What
cool.
should make me a roof sign? But that's okay. I'm not famous.
You have 2, don't you?
You have 2.
No. You're supposed to
How
make
many
me
roof signs
one.
do you need?
He was supposed to make me a new
You're
one
only
this
supposed to
year.
run with one.
He was going to make me one this team
You
one
only
this
need
year. It didn't
one
happen.
Roof sign on top of
I
your
thought
car.
you had that. I thought we were over this.
No.
You don't have
it.
that.
No. The important people do, but I don't.
Well, you really don't have it.
No.
I had pictures of it in my house.
You did, but you never made it. I know, as Ben says, I know how the pecking order works. That's okay.
Yes, there's a pecking order, that's for sure.
Dowd's got his, and Bolton's got his.
You're moving farther down from the top of the list.
I was never at the top of the list. I started somewhere around
You're not getting
11th. Started somewhere around 11th and going backwards from there.
and going backwards.
Backwards.
Well, it'll look good once you get that. Once you get the Mopar shifter.
Yeah. Hopefully this week. Jason said he was going to. I'm going to actually go up and talk to the boss and see if she can get Jason to work on the moped shifter and go from there.
Let's talk more about this roof sign.
Okay.
So, do you run any shows?
She's talking to you.
Have I done who?
What shows are you running?
King's Old School. It's my first one, which is 2 weeks away. It's actually 2 weeks from today.
2 weeks from today.
Hopefully the Derby fairies show up while I'm gone and do a little work on the car.
Your car. 2 weeks from today.
I know a really good welder, and he's going to come over and hopefully weld the motor in and bumper, and we'll get the cage knocked out, and then I can finish the little stuff up from there.
So I'm pretty impressed with Brookville.
Yeah, Brookville was awesome.
Brookville was awesome. I had to watch from home, but
thank you for watching. Appreciate that.
that was pretty awesome.
It was, and everything was junk. That was the best part of it. There was nothing that came out of there that was, wasn't junk. Guys were going to the feature with stuff that was wired and taped and
turned absolutely inside out.
And it was still a good feature. I mean, it wasn't like the feature was 5 minutes and done. And
I'll tell you, Josh Decker put on one heck of a show.
Yes, he did. Josh, I was talking with Joker and Adkins, and everybody that I've talked to was happy for the show Josh had. He had a lot of stuff going on, and for him to have that show was great. And everybody was just happy and impressed with how he.
From home, I was on the edge of my seat.
Yeah,
Edge of my seat. It was
That's
good.
entire grandstands that was doing that.
We did mention though in the concert when Josh drove that GM in the tail at about 40 that didn't help the old Y-frame out. That was the beginning of the end. So, but other than that, Josh did a great job.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think it's time, Chris.
We've covered a lot of ground today. We appreciate you coming on.
Thanks for having
all of
me
our
on,
guests.
guys.
It was good seeing you.
Thanks for being on. Appreciate
Well,
it.
see you.
Maybe next time Chris won't make you uncomfortable.
Yeah. Thanks. Mission accomplished, I think. But so that I think is going to do it for us. We're getting a little bit of the high sign. It's time to pack it up. It's the Power Wheels just about ready to take to the track, but we appreciate everybody. We're going to be back a little bit later on, probably somewhere around 10 o'clock. We'll give you an update on what's going on. And
if we do that, we're going to miss the last 2 heats.
Or we can wait till 1 a.m. Either way.
We did it at 1 a.m. last year. Had viewers.
We'll see what's going on. We'll keep you posted as we go through the day and how those heats develop, and let you know what the game plan is for Crash Course Live here from the Big Rock Derby Products booth. We appreciate everybody hanging out with us. It's been a ton of fun. Had a bunch of guests stop by to say hello, and that's going to do it for us for now. We'll catch up with everybody a little bit later on, and see you after the heats conclude with day one here at the 2015 Bash for Cash.
The Crash Course Podcast is brought to you in part by DerbyParts.com, the 2015 Bash for Cash and Smash It Demolition Derby, Bull Lockwood Motorsports, and the 2015 Keystone National. Scioppa Racing and ScioppaRacing.com. Demo Derby Master. Reckless Abandon Derby Apparel at RecklessAbandonGear.com. And Derby Inc. Magazine. Live it, breathe it, be it, Derby Inc. This is the Crash Course Demolition Derby Podcast.